Hey, I'm Pat B.
And I'm Adam Willis.
Just Johnny.
Rick Olive.
And this is Geek Down on WEMF Radio. You feel it?
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's funky. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Geek Down here on WEMF. Hold it. You know what? Pause. Bring it back. Welcome to another episode of Geek Down here on WEMF. I am Pat B. Little disorganization in the intro. What's going on?
It's me. I'm just back from like whatever I dirty depth from.
Little hibernation. Yeah.
Yeah, I hibernated for like a couple months now.
Hey man, this man came out from under a snowdrift to represent here today, and dude, you're already messing up what's happening.
That wasn't me, man.
I
followed your
It
direction,
was
brother.
definitely me. My headphones were off, so I thought.
Yep. Somebody's blaming somebody else.
Yeah,
Somebody's
with
blaming
the
the
knobs.
headphones.
Yeah, but the problem were we were talking out loud here in the studio.
Yeah, these headphones are really good. Man. They insulate.
All right. That's just Johnny. We tolerate him. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Geek Down. I am Pat B. On the side of me, my main man, looking. Dude,
It's the hood.
It's definitely the hood,
It's all
man.
extra.
But you,
And I'm white.
I turned to you over here. It's like, am I co-host black at it? And you over here brooding, just like.
I just had my head down reading, man. I'm all right.
All right. Well, here in the mid-seas, Black Adam Willis.
How you doing, Pete?
I'm not bad, man. I'm not bad. Good things, bad things are happening. I figure they balance out, so I'm with it.
Well, you can only hope they balance out instead of tipping the scales one way or the other, you know?
Well, so many bad things in the world today, so that's why we bring the goodness. All right, I turn to my right side over here, my man who, surprisingly, he's left field, left wing, left leaning. I don't know where else to go, man.
I just put my head on your shoulder.
Left-handed?
Yeah. Exactly. I
need the support.
I want to cite the song that let us in before Herb gave us like promo number 8 to lead us into the show. But of course, I'm talking, of course, about Rick Olive.
Hello, people.
What
How's
am I?
everybody going?
What
How you
am
been, Pat?
Man, yeah. Thinking the stuff. No, I've been great, man. You know, I'm happy to have this show. You do. We got Phantom Thread lined up. We have Blossom Tales. We have Black Lightning. We got the end of the world. And of course, my man, just Johnny over there.
Yo.
We're going to talk about the Beef Big Talks, Boston Festival Indie Game event recently. He was there front and center, live and direct to handle biz. We're going to get the inside stuff. Am I right?
We have a
That's
review
right.
on Blossom?
Yeah, oh, she's back. Whoa! She is back. 20 years later, 20 plus years. Actually, mine be all like big ups to her, man. She left where most people leave Hollywood to, I don't know, form dead-end careers in used car salesmanship. She went and got a degree in physics.
Then came
doctorate.
back and got on a hit show.
Yeah, and I might be a hit because of her, because the science was on point. She was not just an actress, but she was a consultant to make sure the science was correct on the Big Bang. None of this has anything to do with what we're talking
Because most
about
people
tonight.
watch The Big Bang because the science is 100% accurate. Right?
I can't see any other reason why they
There's
would.
no other reason?
None whatsoever. Have you seen this?
I've never actually met a person that watches it.
I have.
Like, not yet, but you, like, consistently? Are you, like, a weekly viewer?
Oh, no, I don't view.
How does that show
I don't view. I know people that do view.
Right.
And
It's like Burn Notice.
I know
Who watches that show?
I know tons of people watch Burn Notice.
That's real?
Yeah.
I've never watched Burn Notice.
Burn Notice is popular.
Is it that good? I heard it was like the
I didn't
New
say
Age
that.
MacGyver.
Man, Burn Notice.
Right, you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know. I just never actually sat down with a person who's like, catch this week's at Burn Notice?
Nah, don't say that out loud, man. Burn Notice. Yo, Herb will mess you up. He's locking the doors now. Herb, it's cool. We're all friends here. Talking of course about DJ Herb over there in the booth. Woo! I say the booth. It's like an open space. He's at the boards. Looking scruffy as ever, my man. Good to have you.
Giant man behind the curtain.
Yeah, but nah, cats love Burn Notice, man. You can't say it out loud. It's like outside this room, every third person is like, reaching in their back pocket for some brass nuts. You say something bad about Bruce Campbell and the other dude whose name
I get defending Bruce Campbell. I get that.
Yeah. But also, people that aren't really of that ilk love Big Bang. Like, I dated this girl who was just like straight hippie. I mean, full on. And her whole thing was, it's like I didn't understand my geeky friends, but then I watched this show called Big Bang Theory. Now I get everything. I'm like, no, you don't. No.
Poof, magically understood.
Well, needless to
I
say,
need
the
to understand my
relationship did not
black
last
friends,
long.
so I watched Fresh Prince a couple episodes, and I completely understand it
I identify now.
now. Right? Come on.
All right. Well, we are gonna jump into some goodness because, dude, Adam, you got to check out what may be, now correct me if I'm wrong, it's announced that it's the final project. Mr. Daniel Day-Lewis?
The final Daniel Day-Lewis performance, yes, according to him.
Wow.
And he didn't really
That's
answer any
huge.
questions about it. He just says, I'm taking this last movie, and then that's all I'm really going to say about it.
Well, I feel like
But
that's
this is the
because
guy who's, like,
mustache
said
wax
this before.
industry has gone under, and he really has no fault.
This is a guy who's actually said this before. You know what I mean? It seems like every picture he does, that's his last movie. He waits like 4 or 5 years, then he's like, somebody just gives him a good script, and he comes out and does it again. This is like the artist part of him. You know what I mean?
Or is he waiting for like the big role to go out on, and it's just not hitting?
But it's like he wins an Oscar every time he does a picture, so that's the way to go out.
His movies, he's
right?
Great films.
But like that, I mean, he is that good though. I will say that. You know what I mean? His movies are events. His movies are so, particular. The craft he puts into it they're events, and it's a big deal. Well, and so you should show up.
Don't make it seem like I'm trivializing.
It does seem snobby, though.
It does. It's the big thing where he's calling his shot. I'm Babe Ruth stepping up to the plate. I'm gonna play this, and then that's it.
But why not?
The game is over after I knock out this home run.
You can't respect that, opposed to like the Hollywood guys that'll just like kind of do whatever thing for a buck.
I could the first time, maybe the second time. We're up to what, time number 18, 19 now?
Maybe. But like he's working with Paul Thomas Anderson again. This movie's called Phantom Thread. You do not like Paul Thomas Anderson, but he is my personal favorite.
I don't like him because his last few movies have promised what they have not delivered. They've promised entertainment.
See, I find that absolutely ridiculous. But
okay, I'm going to call out the most recent, example being Inherent Vice, which is a movie I was so excited to go into. I'm like, the trailer makes this look like I'm jazzed. This movie has like 70s crime drama, but there's there's curveballs that throwing you, man. What's this lawyer doing in the mix? And then you got Joaquin Phoenix coming, fresh from his break of insanity. And Joaquin Phoenix does good work. And then I see, of all people, Brand himself, Josh Brolin.
Brolin, you got eating a chocolate banana, kind of like a.
Yeah, and I'm like, this looks weird and exciting. Owen Wilson, what's he doing? I am all in. Dude, 70s like car racing and stuff.
It's a great cast.
The cast was insane. The movie was boring and confusing.
But it was exactly true to the book, which is kind of that weird, like, lost feeling of that era kind of dying out. So I think it was true to that. I don't know if you completely grasped what they were going for, and I understand that, but like I still have to disagree with you. But anyways,
the best thing that came out of that was Moto Panakeku. That's all I'll say. This has nothing to do directly with,
you're absolutely right.
Phantom Thread, but this is the person who did. But also, Paul Anderson is also the person who did Boogie Nights.
He did
movie I loved.
Yes. So Boogie Nights. He started with Hard 8 in '96, and then right in 1997 he did Boogie Nights, and that kind of burst him onto the scene because that was like this complete transcendent explosion of like filmmaking genius, in my opinion. Like
it showed us Mark Wahlberg had chops.
Right, and he was still Marky Mark back then. You know what I mean? And it's like people don't understand. Like I think Mark Wahlberg now owes his entire career to Boogie Nights, and I think he kind of rejects it now because he's a religious guy. I think, and I'm like,
wait, Paul Anderson or
no, Mark Wahlberg kind of is like, because he's so religious and he's so weird. He's like, I don't know about that one. I can't show it to my kids, and it's not this thing. I'm like, that movie made your career. That brought you out of like. The underwear model like joke into an actual actor, and everything you have now is because of that movie.
Man, so you did Pain and Gain, okay? I'll dial it back.
Yes, Mark Wahlberg, you are an actor who is so happy to just be average, it's ridiculous. So when you actually do a movie that's of any sort of art and like you should be thankful and should not reject it. So the hell with you for rejecting this movie.
You know what's messed up? You know what's messed up? Historically. And even now, we really like Mark Wahlberg. We also are very, come on, from Boston, representing all, but we're also very well aware, dude, stay in your lane.
Yes.
Like, you know what I think? Well, I think he hasn't been asked to be in a Fast and Furious. I'm putting that out there. I think that's the beat.
He's happened making a couple extra $1 million over Michelle Williams for reshoots for movies.
Oh, jeez.
Boom! Anyways, cheap shots, sorry. But anyways, Phantom Thread. This movie is it's a little bit of a departure for Paul Thomas Anderson. He's usually doing these movies that are like these vast, lots of actors, lots of themes. His movies always seem to me, and the reason why I like him so much, are about really broken people, really trying to get along in the world, trying to find some connection. And in this movie, it's not really much different, but it's definitely more restrained. It's more like an indoor film chamber piece. This is the first movie in which he's actually been the director of photography. He's done all the camera camera work himself, and it's a brilliantly shot movie, and it's so beautiful. And it's really about a stuffy workaholic doing his best to get by. He has these muses that he kind of goes through, all these women. He's kind of like this womanizing workaholic guy in 1950s London.
Wait, you mean there were womanizers in the 50s?
Exactly.
Oh.
Still today, can you believe it?
That's truly
Exactly. So it kind of starts out with him like getting rid of one of his last the women that he is used as a muse that
What do you mean,
tries
what
on
are
these.
you getting rid of? Bumping her off?
Well, they're sitting there at breakfast basically like that, and she can't get through to him. She's actually talking to him, and he's completely ignoring her. Then when she leaves the room, his sister, who's the third character in the movie, Cyril, he's like, yeah, pretty much get rid of her. We dump her for me. You know, kind of like, let's recycle her and get another girl.
I'm sorry, he's a genius.
Exactly.
He does what he wants.
Exactly. So the next scene you see him.
With you now.
It's like, excuse me. Well, personal message from the chef. You're basic.
Well, it's more like just it's more blunt than that. It's like, you know, peace, see you later, like that. So the next scene you see him. The next scene you see him.
He doesn't like jazz.
Yeah,
Fresh Prince.
that's what I pictured
like
in my head.
having a nice breakfast. Oh, you're going to bathroom? I'll wait here.
So we see him drive off basically like that, and he goes to the English countryside, a little hotel, and then he meets this this server girl, in which he quickly seduces her, and then you see him quickly with another woman, which he brings back and then starts making this dress for her. And that is another girl just right away, like under his whim, that he wants to use as basically a human mannequin to try on all these dresses, and he's this really intense artist. And from there, if you've seen enough movies, you know this story, the way it's going, can go one of two ways. This guy can continue down the path of being this, you know, perfectionist, seeking like the ultimate form of art and destroying every relationship that he's been in, or he can have this girl kind of change him, show him how to live again and be this new man and show him what he's missing.
That's the way we expect it
And
to
so
go.
that's what we expect it to go.
Yeah.
This movie is both of those and none of those at the same time, and completely defies everything you've known about that kind of story trope, and it completely just blows that away in a way that's like shocking, like it's like subversive, and it's completely fascinating, and you're like,
big claims.
it's like it blew me away, like what, like, you know, I'm still thinking about it, trying to like put it together, and obviously I haven't seen it again, which I want to, because obviously I think it will reveal itself more as I watch it again and again. But there's so much to this movie, so much depth and everything, that going back and rewarding yourself with multiple viewings will be necessary. But I really enjoyed this movie. This is like something like more low key for him, which I said his movies kind of seem to be on a grander scale. A lot of characters, a lot of themes. His movies seem to be about everything and nothing at the same time. This one seems very specific, has something to do with artists, something to do with relationships. It's really fascinating and something I think everybody should check out. I don't know if people will like it right away, but if you give it some thought, if you give it some, you read into it a little bit, read some reviews, I think it's really a rewarding movie, and I think you should definitely check it out.
All right, well, let me get my inner Larry King on. So now, with everything you just said about this picture, do you think it can stand the test of time as a successful final vehicle for Mr. Day-Lewis?
You're not hunched over enough.
My shoulders can only dip so far. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's weird to say.
My head hasn't sunk down into my sternum like that old man.
It's weird to see Daniel Day-Lewis kind of playing a normal human being, because he's usually so hidden behind different
makeup,
voices.
hair,
you know, different, like really into character. This is like just him as an English dude being kind of a prick. And it's really refreshing because he's not overacting. There's no one scene where he's just like, you know, I drink your milkshake, you know, or like selling out or stabbing somebody like Bill the Butcher. Like, this is just a man acting, you know what I mean? And I got to call out the role of Vicky Krieps, who plays Alma, his muse, because she is.
I've heard people pronounce that Creeps. It's Krieps?
I have no idea. It might be Creeps.
Okay.
I'm calling it Krieps because that's how I pronounce it. I could be wrong, folks. However, she is kind of this newcomer burst on the scene, and she's going face to face with what is regarded as the best actor in the world, and she does a damn good job. She damn near steals scenes from him in the best way, and I think this, she goes toe to toe with the best, and she holds her own. that just holds her own. She does a damn good job.
Now, do you think this is his official, or is he
Oh
just
man,
calling it off like he usually
I hope
does?
not. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I really hope not because he's that good, and I think like the cinema it benefits from having him in movies.
Yeah.
And like I said, he has kind of said he's like I'm kind of done. You know what I mean? But I think like 4 or 5 years down the road, just like normal, if somebody presents him with a great script, like I really want to work with you, he might do it.
Yeah.
So I hesitate to say it is his last movie, but if he says so, I'm inclined to believe him. But at the same time, like I hold out the fact that he might not be. Yeah.
I want to see him come back, but I want to see him do something way left field. Daniel Day-Lewis in like a slapstick comedy.
Right. Yes. Like Dumb and Dumber or 2.
Like a rat race style chase movie.
Cast him as a superhero, which he'll never do.
You mean Woody Harrelson as a buddy cop something?
Oh,
I will watch that
Woody
movie.
Wait. No, I want to see Daniel Day-Lewis and Christian Bale in something where they both have to wear fat in Medea Goes to the UK.
You know what's great about this movie is like it does highlight his comedy chops. Like this, he has great comic timing.
He does.
And there's a lot of things in this movie that are just like it's very subtle, but like the comedy is there, and a lot of it's like there's a breakfast scene where he's sitting down with this woman and she's buttering her toast, but it's done such a loud way that he's so annoyed by it, and you just see him every reaction. You're just reading, you're like, that's annoying as hell, and you're waiting for him to explode, and it's just done so beautifully, and like he's completely pure in that comic timing, just like everything is. It's like I said, it's a little bit of a departure from his last few movies, but it's a great send off. You know what I mean? And he is the best. So
I want to see him there. He's sitting across the table from her. Everything's fine, but her nose is whistling. And it just keeps getting louder and louder.
It's kind of like that, and like just like
faces are across the table.
You think she's done buttering the toast, and she pours coffee, and you're like, dang, you're about to explode. It's
look at over there.
Movie.
Oh, hungry.
No, this is great, man. I mean, I suggest it, and I don't know if you're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude. It's just like I'm always excited to see these premise wise, and what they offer is never what I get from it.
Right.
And I'm just.
Right. I hear you, man. I hear you.
All right, but Phantom Thread, you do recommend it.
I do recommend it, 100%. Yes.
All right. Thumbs up from Black Adam Willis, Phantom Thread. He says, check it out. I'll reserve judgment. I will be fair, and I'll see it for myself. We'll see what's going down. All right. But now I want to kick it over to Just Johnny.
You?
Because, my man, you got to check out the Fig Talks. Friends of the show, the Boston Festival Indie Games, were cool enough to invite us out to scope out their exhibition. Dude, what's going on?
Yeah, so I made a return. It's at a different venue than last year. So last year, I believe it was at a Microsoft building. I think it was like their Nerd Center or something like that. Yeah. This year, it's at an MIT Strata Center or something like that. Strata. It might be Stata. I don't know. Something like that. It's some nice building, part of the MIT campus.
This year, it was in a building.
There's so many. I mean, MIT campus is massive, and I'm not very familiar with the MIT campus.
Yeah, it does like a labyrinth.
Yeah, and inside the buildings,
you make a left turn, there's Chipotle. You make a right turn, there's a Minotaur.
Yeah, they have like weird stairs that are above your head that are like curvy, swirly, and they kind of seem like they lead to nowhere. So it's like very weird, fancy architecture inside the building as well as outside.
It's
the
MIT.
building.
They built an indoor Stargate. Takes you to the cross the other side.
Yeah. I was getting those vibes.
I've been there a couple of times.
It was designed by MCS.
Yeah. So the festival, it's a 1 day long from I believe it was 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning all the way until 5 at night. Sort of like a game developer convention for people in the greater Boston area where they all get together. Cool thing, they serve them a fairly basic, pastry and coffee, a simple breakfast, but then they go pretty all out on the lunch where they have like all sorts of different sandwiches and drinks available for everyone, all the attendees, whether you're a speaker or not. You have lunch and you sort of intermingle. It
was social. It sounds like an actual luncheon versus what I immediately imagined was like that tapioca paste from the Matrix. It's like
tapioca.
Yeah, they sit there. Everyone gets a sardine
Tasty
can with
everything the body needs.
Yeah, they got a good catering, just like last year. And it's meant to have the people that are attending and the developers and the speakers sort of get them to sort of sit around and eat and talk to each other instead of the majority of this convention thing, where it's you attend a speaker talk, and it's basically one or two or small handful of people that are doing some sort of chat about something that they are a SME of, subject matter expert.
Is that a proper term, or did you just make that up?
No, that's a proper term, SME, SME.
All right, I'm Google it. I'll call you out.
They're SME of. So
Okay.
yeah, they have a bunch of SMEs.
Yeah, henchmen from.
And the SMEs
Yeah,
are
right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
and they're basically dumping all of their information that they know for that particular topic. So, and it's all centered on game development. So there's one of the talks I attended was about starting up a game developer oriented business and what the nuances of that and sort of the best advice, things that gee, I wish I would have known this before getting my head into or diving headfirst into these types of things. So it's a lot of useful information for each of these different things, and it runs the gamut between one of the talks was someone going over C# code. So they'll like literally
a tutorial or
they are
training session?
they're going, it's advanced too. It was like advanced level C# programming. So they're going over code on the projector / wall, and
It seems like more than you need more than an afternoon to.
they squeeze it into an hour. I didn't catch that one, but it was on the agenda list. They had it was divided between 3 different rooms, and yeah, so it would go to that extreme, and it would also go to the extreme of how to best communicate as sort of a game developer company or group or persona, trying to communicate what you have and line up your ducks in line in order to pitch your product to the consumers, and using social media as the best possible way to take advantage of it, as well as media in order to sort of get your game known, whatever it may be. It's not just video games, it's board games and things like that. Yeah. And there's artist panels that are there,
Video games,
sound
board games,
engineers.
it's also
Yep.
playground games.
Yeah.
It's also games like Slide.
He said slide.
Uno, dos, yes. I said it east, west.
So that was Boston Fig. I didn't get to do. I did a couple of interviews with a couple of different developers, but it wasn't as overloaded as last year's. It seemed it was definitely more tamed down. I put it out there to reach out to a bunch of developers, and only got a few back there willing to show me what they had. And
More like a secretive convention?
what's that?
More like a secretive type setup?
It is, yeah. That's why I don't have any footage to show off of anything, because it is a lot of what I looked at was pre-alpha stuff that they're not ready to publicly display. One game, which I'd like to make a special note of, is it's made by this industry veteran. It's a small team, and this person worked on Myst. If you're familiar with Myst. And this guy went on from Myst to do games like Command and Conquer, like a bunch of the Command and Conquer games and a bunch of other games. So like really seasoned veteran. And it was his next game. It's using Unreal Engine 4. It's tackling a thing that's interesting and that hasn't really been tackled before, sort of like a commentary on a slice of life, like an aspect, almost like a slightly taboo thing that you don't really talk about.
He made a porno
in
game.
life.
Just come on and say it.
It's not a porno. It's not a porno.
Sure, I'm hearing porno.
Lisa Shoot Larry Part 5.
But it's interesting. And
Somewhere between Catherine meets Debbie Does.
Sure.
Hey, you saw these games.
So yeah,
Made Myst.
that's something
Myst was
I'll
jank.
yeah that's something I'll definitely bring up again in the future when it's ready to be more sort of presentable to the public. But yeah, there was some games, as I said, I looked at. A lot of games that I didn't get to look at that I know were there. It's just I never had the opportunity, and no one sort of came up to me or anything like that. But overall, I mean, it was a very good, interesting, just like last year. It's just a matter of this is not something that the general public needs to concern themselves about attending.
No,
But
it makes sense. We get the inside track, and you can give people a hint as to what they might be seeing.
Well, if you are interested in getting involved with game development, this would be like a very good, because they do have sort of panels, talks that are geared towards the entry level, sort of where do I begin if I want to get involved in game development of any sort, and they have that there as well. So for those who are interested and want to get into it from a hobbyist standpoint, or from, you know, how do I get a job in the industry standpoint, they kind of have you covered there.
Cool. All right, so how can folks follow up on this? Is it just
Yeah, Boston Festival of Indie Games. They will list the Boston Fig. They also have another. They have two events that run every year. There's this one, which is the more developer focused one, the more private one, and then they have the public one, which comes up in September, which is the big one, the B-Fig.
It's the big one, the main event.
Yeah.
Sunday. All right. The B-Fig talks. Johnny, thank you very much.
Yep.
All right, and if you haven't gotten sick of that sexy voice by now, I'm actually going to kick it right back to you. You got to play Blossom Tales The Sleeping King. Is that correct?
Yeah, Blossom Tales for the Sleeping King. It's a game that's available on PC and on Switch. I played it on Nintendo Switch.
Crazy about the Switch. And Adam's been apparently hitting you up for requests. He's looking to sell his soul. You got a Switch, right?
I did.
How are you liking it so far?
Yeah, how's that going?
It's going. For sure. I'm so apprehensive to like start certain games because I don't want to lose my soul and my life to it. You know what I mean?
What do you got? What are you into now?
I've been playing a lot of Mario Kart, and I just started Zelda, so like I know I'm done.
Zelda
Sooner
will
than
suck
later.
your life away.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you still on the Great Plateau, or did you get off the Great Plateau?
I'm still there. Yeah.
You still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's screwed.
Once you hop off of that thing, that's it.
That's liquid visual crack for the next 2 months.
Exactly.
The rest of the
I'm
world
so
you
worried.
see, that's just the great abyss. You're going to
Seriously.
disappear into there.
I just watch random videos of the Fountain Fairies. I'm good. That's
Just
all.
get your
That's
fix
all
that way.
that's how I get down.
Fair enough.
I would just like to point out I did not mention the Z
Fountain
word.
Fairies.
I did not mention the Z word.
You're not done yet, my friend.
I'm not done
Continue,
yet. So, Blossom Tales is this action adventure dungeoneering game that has a very retro take on it. It's essentially sprite-based, 2D, top-down, slightly bird's-eye perspective, where you're controlling this.
Only one adjective there. It's top down. It's 2D. It's this, that. It's
You have a
Heart Racer. It's,
yeah.
Action JRPG.
Oh.
Action JRKR RPG. Retro.
Not so much J. No,
not so much J.
It's not very Japanese.
So it's a platforming,
No
roguelike.
No. So
chess game.
you're playing as this girl who, I guess it's her first day on the job of joining the King's Knights, the special knights, and you're one of the new recruits. And during this ceremony, the brother of the king decides that he's fed up and he wants to just become the king now. So he puts his king brother to he curses him, puts him to sleep, and he pronounces himself king. But then he doesn't stay at the castle; he goes somewhere else.
I do it. Got a place to be.
Which is weird. And
I'll run y'all.
Like Donald Trump.
I know,
I'm gonna
right?
stay in the tower.
I'm gonna go
stay in the White
Mar-a-Lago
House.
for the weekend. Call me
and-
there.
I'm president. I'm gonna stay over here.
and you're tasked with it's sort of like the rest of the knights that are part of this group, the more elite ones. They're searching for a way to sort of reawaken the king, and there are these three wise men that know how to reawaken him, and they sort of task the knighthood or whatever in order to do that. And since you are one of the new recruits, you want to participate and help, and you decide to take it upon yourself because you are witnessing the lack of courage with the other fellow crew member or knight members or whatever recruits, and you rise to the occasion just by playing the game out, and end up getting the ingredients needed to reawaken your sleeping king.
I like that. It's like, okay, what? The rest of y'all cowards, you jive suckers, you can't handle this. Come on, step up to a dragon or something. Come at me, bro. And he steps on you.
So there's for gameplay, this is really a exploration, action, and dungeon-based puzzle-solving style game. It's also an open world game where
Also a cooking simulator. It's also a courtroom drama.
right.
Proper terms on it.
So open world in the aspect of what a 2D open world game would be back on the Super Nintendo days. So it's kind of it is limited. It's not as big and expansive as you think it is. It's actually pretty densely compact. You're moving from one screen to another screen, and within the screen of the environment that you're in, there'll be enemies, and there'll be like bushes and grass that you can chop down, and there might be some gold speckled about here and there, and there's definitely going to be enemies around.
It's not just like I travel till I come across a random battle. There's things to do.
There's things to do along the way as you're going to these 3 main dungeons that you need to sort of get through in order to get the ingredients.
Now are the enemies generic? Like, are they generic in the sense of AI? I guess you want to say it as such, because most games like that they'll have enemies that reflect the area that you're in. Say you're in a woodly area, so you have like a woodly creature, but essentially it would be the same creature that you're fighting like on any other aspect.
Yeah.
Please tell me when the woods they're called woodly creatures. You come across a woodly creature.
Well, they're druids, but they've been tainted and corrupted.
Tainted and corrupted.
Tainted and corrupted by the evil king, the evil self-proclaimed king.
Who decided to go to Mar-a-Lago for the weekend.
Yeah, for whatever reason now he's just like throwing his like evil
He's playing
minions
golf
everywhere.
for the 50th time this month.
But you do get your run-of-the-mill enemies. You'll get your skeletons. You'll get your evil flying wizards. Your jumping and leaping, flaming flames.
Climbing trees.
You'll get like very angry trees that you have to throw bombs at over and over and over again, and then they eventually.
It's games like this
turn
that started
happy.
my lifelong fixation with just chopping down bushes looking for gold.
Yep.
Like if I just hit this thing, there'll be money
Where
under it.
are my
A generation of disappointed carpenters everywhere.
Exactly. Stupid profession.
All right, so we're getting a lot of the technical stuff,
Yep.
man. How was your experience playing this? Jazz, what's going on?
I was definitely looking forward to it. When you look at this game, look at the screenshots, look at the videos, you kind of get a very specific vibe, and the game is going for that very specific vibe all the way. It's all in. If this game, the developers were sort of like a poker player, and they're like, oh, we want to make this type of game, and they had all their chips in front of them, instead of like, saying, oh, we want a little bit of our gameplay in this game, a little bit of our gameplay is going to be based on this game. Now they just took all of their chips and saw a game and went, we're all in. And
If you like that one enough,
if you like
buy
that
this
one,
yeah. If
then,
you like,
then you'll like this one.
That's not a bad thing sometimes. I remember when Knockout Kings came out, and there was like 40 different boxing games that followed a similar platform because they changed it. Eventually, that became what was it? Fight Night. The Fight Night series, and they actually revolutionized that gaming system, all from a series of clone games. So you think this might have some agenda? Maybe we're gonna redesign, and then we're gonna revolutionize this style of gameplay.
It seems like it's going backwards, like trying to like capture that early stuff.
Yeah, or is it going backwards and
it's
like
definitely
going for retro?
It's definitely backwards. It doesn't add anything new to what you have. If you've been playing video games since the Super Nintendo era or earlier, everything that this game throws at you, it throws at you harder, expecting you to be a more seasoned sort of gamer. Okay. And because of that, you're going to be very familiar. So it's definitely hitting on the nostalgia factor, right? Leaping skeletons and fireballs shooting at you, they have to dodge or block with your shield, and then there will be pots around. You can sort of lift up the pot and throw it at enemies if you want.
Don't attack the chickens. Don't attack the chickens in the game.
I can't remember if there are chickens. I haven't seen any chickens, or if there are.
The hell with the chickens.
I haven't bothered to sort of attack the chicken enough to see
John,
it.
I haven't been that frustrated playing that I haven't killed anonymous things.
You gotta attack them chickens day one, man. You know why? Because you'll find an Easter egg where it'd be like Tekken. Chicken. No. I was asking if they do that right then. Because you get games like Super Meat Boy, which followed a very well established format, but was
Super what?
just ridiculous.
Super Meat Boy.
Meat Boy?
Meat. Yeah, you're
an
a
impossibly hard
boy
game
made
that
of
was really
meat.
well received, really good.
We're all
Yeah,
made
but
of
yeah,
meat.
no
That's
joke.
weird. So,
This
call
is-
it that.
Well, some of us are meat
Bleeding
popsicles,
meat.
some of us are meat boys.
Meat.
You know, it depends.
Just picture yourself without any skin.
I do. Sometimes
Alright.
it freaks me out.
Well,
So yeah, it tries, and in some instances it is a little successful, but in most instances it lacks a degree of polish. Kind of throughout it. One of the big things I didn't like about this game was that the pacing was pretty off. Where right from the start, I mean, I already played these styles of games. I know what to expect. I know how to navigate through them. But for anyone who is slightly unfamiliar or rusty on these styles of games, this game is hard from the very start, right? Whereas other games would start at like a 2 or a 1 and sort of work your way up. And as you sort of get more comfortable with the game, they scale the difficulty along with it. This game starts
does it
at
provide you with a guide? Like, does it guide you through the game, or does it just say, hey, by the way, you need to go over here, figure that out?
It does give you an indicator on the map as to where you need to be, and it does sort of explain some things as minimal as possible.
Okay, good.
On
That's a
how to
good
explain
challenge.
things.
Find a potion. All right. Fight the Demogorgon. Welcome to level 1.
It's not so much that the difficulty is intended. It's kind of like the difficulty comes with the lack of polish and the lack of playtesting, because some of the enemies are either attacking way too often. Some of them aren't attacking enough. They're the AI, as you mentioned earlier, is very basic, where they're just either gonna chase after you, or like focus on you and move towards you or shoot at you, or they will randomly move throughout the level, and so you can't really predict how they're going to turn, and you just got to avoid them hitting you.
That balance is important, but also remember, Johnny, you may have just been spoiled by years of modeling over time. I'm just saying, Spirit of those NES games was, hey, trial by fire. You're in this. You're gonna learn today.
Yeah.
All right, so it's not so much that it's hard because because of that challenge. It's hard. I'm saying it's hard because the presentation of this game, it presents itself as a game for kids, as a game that will be for kids, to introduce them to this genre, to this style of games, in a very kid-friendly way. Right from the story is a grandpa telling a story about this lady knight recruit to his grandkids. So,
son, back in my days, I had an adventure where from level 1 I got my ass.
So it's like the
constantly.
Princess Bride video game.
Yeah. So
in a Zelda style.
Yeah, it's
RPG
in a Z style. Yeah.
Z style. I didn't say you had to like not say the word. I said like avoid
Z trigger.
Right. Okay, now that is the point we should bring to light. Because we're not the first people to review this game. The review's been out for a couple of weeks now.
Yep.
And every single review I've checked, just to make sure we cover the important points, has done nothing but talk about Zelda. And granted, it's a Zelda-like game, but they've said very little about the game itself. So I also want to know what your experience was with this game.
Yeah.
And you are struggling so hard over there. The beads of sweat, if you could see it on the
I
camera.
refuse to say the word because you gave me a challenge. So
you're doing pretty well, by the way.
Yeah. There's puzzle elements. Each of the dungeons, they're very linear in design. So that's one of the things I didn't care too much for, is that it's, you go from one room to another room to another room. You're never really backtracking. You're never really being presented with puzzles that are sort of, you have to take the space of multiple rooms into consideration to solve a puzzle. It's really just this one room has this one very simple or, just one isolated puzzle.
It sounds like with that said, it sounds like they tried to make it kid friendly, not too complicated for a child to play, but simultaneously they just made it super hard.
They did through the combat and the lack of sort of polish within the combat. And it's not so much the combat of your character and how your character controls, it's more of the enemies and just their lack of polish. I guess.
All right. So end of the day, all that said, would you recommend this?
I would, because there aren't many games that do this, and it does it, and it does it really well, other than the issues that I pointed out, and it's fairly cheap too. So,
what are we talking price tag?
So let me just quickly look that up because I was provided a review copy.
Well prepared. We're talking about we're talking about Blossom Tales The Sleeping King for
So-
Nintendo Switch and for PC.
And for PC on Steam, it's $15.
Not bad.
So $14.99.
Sounds right.
And it's actually you're gonna get your run of the money for this, and if you like these styles of game, you're really gonna enjoy it. For kids, they need to play something else before jumping into this one, just because the difficulty is too high for kids.
Prep. All right. See what he said. Your kids are wusses. Man them up. All right. Now, kidding. All right,
Father.
All right. Now, Johnny, I want to thank you for the review. I'm gonna give you a high five at the Eiffel Tower, Adam. Adam, looking bewildered, I'm passing it to you, my brother, to talk about the end of the world. Latest series on Netflix based on a comic book on a graphic novel, by Charles S.
It's a British show too.
It is, yes.
8 episodes.
10 episodes.
10 episodes?
Oh,
8 or 10?
8 or 10 episodes.
8 or 10 episodes about a kid who identifies as a psychopath.
A kid who identifies, I consider them both psychopaths. It's
They
about
are
these
both
two English
psychopaths.
kids.
About 2 English kids, a
One of
guy
them
who
is
has been torturing animals, killing things. This is like complete
he's a-
Jeffrey Dahmer
he's a-
childhood
wow.
thing. That's how they paint him. And then some girl that he sees approaches him and wants to kind of hang out with him and whatever like that. So he's like, I'm gonna kill this girl. 'Cause honestly, like he's been killing animals for years, and a lot of it really does take that Jeffrey Dahmer thing where it's just like he wants to graduate to. He's been fantasizing about killing a person, and like this girl's interested, so it's like I'm gonna kill her, and then
Sounds like
they
Dexter.
kind of take this they run away from home and do this little road trip together, and that is the show, and it's pretty wild.
Screwed up, man.
It's pretty screwed up. I mean, you take that premise and you're like, yeah, this has got to be a screwed up show, and it really is. So, but I enjoyed it as much as you can enjoy something like this. But,
I did, and the
I
thing
love
is,
stuff like that. It's out of the box.
Well,
Yeah,
I
man.
approached it from the angle of I like English comedy and those English cop shows. You get things like Luther, where you think it's going to be a straightforward.
and Luther was hard, man.
Luther was
Luther
raw.
was like raw. It's just like it takes that episode of CSI and be like, just pervert it even more.
Yeah,
And then
I love
show
about
it.
BBC,
And then show it, you know what I mean?
The English shows, they pull no punches. They have
Right.
different restrictions than we do here in America.
Right.
You can
Yeah,
really
they do.
see where they're more willing to push the envelope.
It's definitely a
shows
little
and
bit
this is-
nastier. It's definitely, you know what I mean, where it's like we kind of have these weird things about sex and stuff like that. We don't show that, but it's like they really up it. You know what I mean? Like I remember watching Luther for the first time. I'm like, man, this is awful. Like it really showed it. But this is
Luther
in
gave
that
us
style,
Idris
too.
Elba, or at least reintroduced us.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was the best. You know what I mean?
But they have a lot of good shows that come across that we don't normally get to see. So I'm glad this one was picked up by Netflix because people have been raving about it for a while, and it came out in the UK about mid to late last year.
Right.
Just getting it now here in the US over the past couple of
So
weeks.
like American audience are catching up, you know what I mean, a little bit. But like, yeah, this is that show, and it's great, and it takes this weird, and it's kind of like California. You remember that movie with
David Duchovny?
David
That's
Duchovny's in
California.
it, Brad
California.
Pitt's in it.
That was a great
California.
movie.
No, Californication
No,
is the show, but
this is a movie.
California with a K, and
I know this one.
Brad Pitt's a
Like a psychopath
psychopath serial
Yeah.
murderer,
It's really good.
and
When was this?
this
We're
was in the
talking like
90s,
maybe
yeah.
late 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know Brad Pitt back then.
So basically,
This is
it's a
young,
road
young,
trip
ravishing
with
kid.
David Duchovny's like a writer, and then Brad Pitt's the serial killer, and they don't know each other is that, and they're on a road trip together. You
And there's
know,
a woman
doing, like,
involved. I forgot who the woman
It's
was.
there's always a woman
it's a
involved.
what's her name?
Jude Law.
No, it's a
Judas. Oh, Juliet Lewis.
Juliet Lewis. Yes,
It
Juliet
just
Lewis.
sounds like a
Yeah.
Juliet Lewis-esque
It's a
movie. That was
It's
a
it was
exactly
Juliet
what it
Lewis.
is, bro.
That's
And yeah, she's in it, but it's a little like that, just in like the premise of like these two psychopaths hitting the road, or like you know what I mean,
How did I miss
Mickey and
this?
Mallory from what's that film?
Oh, Natural Born Killers?
Natural Born
Yeah.
Killers.
Okay,
Exactly.
thank
you know
you.
what I mean? So-
All you said that. The
Brain
only thing running
farts.
through my mind is Mickey and Mallory. Isn't that? No, that's Mike and Molly.
Mike and Molly.
But yeah, so the serial killer hit the road thing is not like exactly new.
Okay,
but
conceptually,
this
yeah.
is
No, I get that. It
Right.
reminded me of there were these movies. Oh, they only did two of them, so I can't say like a series. But with Natasha Lyonne, and they changed up who her co-star was. But they were called Freeway and Freeway 2. These road movies about two girls who escape from an all-girls juvenile prison.
Right.
And the thing is, they just end up in weird situations where someone gets killed, or someone's trying to kill them, or they end up killing somebody. You know, situations like that, and they across the border and weird stuff happens. And I think 2 went balls to the wall insane, where it starts off with them having like a lesbian scene. It's like, okay, we just broke out of an all-girls prison where everyone's trying to have sex with us. We don't want that. So let's break out. Okay, what's the first thing we're gonna do? Let's have sex. You know.
Well, the road movie.
I got a sense of this because these 2 kids in the end of the world are still kids, and the whole story is to paint them not emphasize the psychopath aspect of them,
right,
but the kid aspect of them.
Well, the road movie is a great like genre for that because it's kind of really about like when there's a road movie or something, it's usually about longing, but trying to find something new, trying to find yourself. Mostly like that. So there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of time, basically like that. So you're asking a lot of, you're getting to know these characters. So I think that's what it was going for. And I think it did it well because, like I said, that's the nature of that genre. And so you're realizing these are just kids. These are really troubled people, though, and you see how they kind of develop these tastes and kind of these weird things.
Now, how did the actors that they cast for the American version do as far as portraying the characters? Because a lot of times some of those British shows are so good. Honestly, I've watched 2 different versions of the same show, Human Beings. And Shameless, even. I just finished watching the American version of Shameless.
Okay.
And I started watching the BBC, and I think the BBC version is hilarious and actually way
it's like
better.
You get those office
so, like, how are they pulling
people?
that off? How are they training it off?
Well, right there, they didn't remake this for American audiences. It was just released in.
So this is the original
version. This is the original. I didn't know that. Bad accent, driving on the left side of the road, and everything.
Oh, good. All right, cool.
Yeah. So they avoided that in a great way. They just should have just released this. You're right. I think if they would have done that, though, they would have.
I don't know, man. They probably would have worked in. What's his name? The kid that played Cyclops in Ty Edgerton.
Yeah, some stupidly like handsome.
Yeah, it would have been Ty Sheridan.
Ty
Edgerton. I'm thinking of Joel Edgerton. And the kid who played
he would have been in it too as a weird father.
He would have just ridiculous. No. They did the right thing releasing the proper English one, and the kids did very well. Yeah, all the acting was spot on because they're supposed to be weird people. And I think these characters are just like the look was down. Everyone they interact with are these lesser known British actors, and they all did their parts well because everyone
acted way better than the average American actor.
Kind of, because the whole thing is I don't need a star. These aren't Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah. This is just okay. You're a weird guy who works in a shop. You're a weird kid who works in a gas station. Yeah. Okay, and you're the unholy heinous bitch of a boss.
Yeah.
So it's like there's those extremes and there's those banal.
A lot of these British movies and TV shows, like there's some gritty stuff. You know what I mean? Those streets out there are like no joke as well.
Yeah,
like,
there was an attempted rape on screen.
Yeah.
There's
some crazy stuff. It's really kind of like this hard and airy. You know what I mean? A lot of people think of like this, the British countryside, how beautiful it is, and it sounds like.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. The idea is, the cops don't carry guns. How serious could they be?
So prim and proper, and tea at lunch and stuff like that. No, man, there's some really gnarly stuff. There's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of poverty, and there's a lot of bad tea.
And a lot of it is shown in the show, and they come across some real reactions. And we're making it sound a little too serious, I think, because this is at its core a comedy, but I'd call it a comedic drama.
Well, it's like a comedy with it's like biting though. You know what I mean? You're like it like the comedy hits in a different way. You know what I mean? You're like that's
it gives you more weirdness and more like
you laugh in self-defense more.
Oh,
you know
and that's
funny.
Like, and then more. I spent a lot of this series with my face screwed up like.
Should I be laughing?
Guess I'm watching that tonight.
But it's definitely worth checking out.
Absolutely.
I don't want to get too much into the actual stuff about specific episodes.
Yeah, we can avoid spoilers
like that. But yeah, it's basically the road movie with these 2 really troubled, demented kids trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Does this guy want to kill this girl? Like, does he go through with it? Like, the plans through it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
it's really
it also leaves you in suspense, and you follow that the whole way through. I like that
because once you buy into the show, you buy into the fact that this guy is a psychopath. How believable is he with his intentions? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, if he likes her, is that just a fraud? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Who
Also,
can you trust
she has
in
her
this
own
issues. Like
is he going to be able to deal with that? Is she going to deal with him? And from even from the trailer, you can get her mouth is going to be that's going to get him in some deep trouble.
Yes.
So how are they going to play that off? And are they going to? And the thing is,
quality reading. Quality writing and reading.
Right.
But one thing I love, just to give a final point, is as weird as I thought it would get from the trailer, and as weird as it presented itself conceptually, it got like 10 times weird. be aware of that if you check this out. So it's like this looks.
Are the English accents heavy?
They're English, yes.
No, I'm just like serious. Like some people are just have like this really strong English. Some I can understand, some I can actually follow.
No, this wasn't Brad Pitt and Snatch. You can't understand what they're talking about.
The Pygmy language.
Watch really? Yeah, no, no Cockney.
I'm watching any Scottish movie.
I'm gonna watch Break.
I give it a thumbs up.
Thumbs up, absolutely. Absolutely. On Netflix right now, it's called The End of the F *****King World. Check that out yourself, but dude, I recommend it. Like Adam?
Yes, sir.
All right, so now I'm gonna turn it over to my other side. You. And joining us again, the newly titled Rick Olive.
Yes.
All right. Rick Olive, you're gonna have to check out something that's blowing up the charts, man, and really getting a huge buzz online on social media. News coverage is out the waz. I'm talking about CW's Black Lightning.
Yes, man. It's actually after I watched their first episode, and I'm pretty.
Hold on, pause. Herb, cue up the Shaft theme. I'm kidding.
You know, what's funny? I came into the episode expecting something campy like
Black Lightning. So did I, man.
You know what I mean? I just because it's.
I would have dug too.
I would not.
I expected it.
I would not because
it's just the CW. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, man. They're so used to doing the shows where it's like an Arrow, he's been away from blah blah blah. So fine, we
Pace
get
is
it.
left on the dock without a girlfriend.
Well, yeah, but no. The problem is, it's like anytime they do a show with a primarily black cast or a black leading character or anything,
the template's pretty typical.
Yeah, if it's not the right people in that production booth, calling a few shots and making a few even in the editing booth, you know exactly what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say white people don't know black people. Yeah. What? Well, no. I'm saying they'll try to do something cool to make it.
Some of the first episode did fall into that slightly, a little bit. Certain parts of the episode felt like that.
It did, but it felt like they were trying too hard, more to appeal to younger audiences than to specifically black audiences. Yeah. That I think I can forgive because the show was still being made by adults. Yeah. This was something like, yeah, man, he's a principal, but he's also got afros and walking in huge butterfly collars, and then he drives an Impala up to something like, why are you people free to walk?
And just for background, Black Lightning, his name is Jefferson Pierce. He runs he's a principal for a high school in the south side of Metropolis. I want to say Chicago, but
he's one of DC's first primarily black owned and prominent and black featuring characters.
First appearance
in DC Comics
in the Bronze Age, 1977.
Correct.
Issue. Correct. Yeah.
And for a long time, you didn't see him in the comics because there was a big dispute where DC wanted to own the character. They never owned the character until later on. I think it was close to his death when they finally were able to acquire the rights.
The creator's death? Yeah, I think so.
So the dude held out.
That's pretty
he held out. That's what. And it's a damn shame because Black Lightning, despite the characteristics, has always been one of my favorite. I'll say one of my favorite black comic characters. Put it in that compartmentalization because there are several. There's like Luke Cage. There's former Miss Marvel. I forget what her name is now. Former Captain Marvel. She got the pro on. She was part of Next Wave.
Nah,
I forget her real name. I'll look. Yeah, the second I find a picture, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, that's Luke Cage.
Misty Knight's from Luke Cage. Yeah, she was Captain Marvel. They're talking about doing a new series with her now. Anyways, long story short, Black Lightning was one of my favorite of these characters because whereas you have John Stewart, he's like, he was a military man, he's part of Justice League, and he's a team player and all this stuff. Black Lightning was always like, he's always been just an angry and super serious, almost humorless dude who's all about his business. He's not going to make wise cracks.
Yeah. That's like Shaft. And it's funny you mentioned the thing, but that's like...
Shaft had ladies and stuff.
Not cracking any jokes, though. You know what I mean? Like, going about it.
This dude, he's a family man.
He kind of avoided... with them, it's like you can't really exploit Black Lightning or Jefferson Pierce, the character's name. You can't really exploit him in that sense, man. He's just really down to earth.
Yeah, and he's
brother who's just trying to look out for his community.
He's not a former. He's not a former pimp,
drug dealer,
former sports star, former drug dealer, former gang member. None of that.
Right.
He's just a dude who came up from the community.
It's like a guy doesn't have a dark past just to be a serious character.
Exactly.
He's just and he didn't have like a real origin story. Like he was basically born a metahuman, which is mutants basically in the DC
there was no accident. He plugged the toaster the wrong way. And,
he was just one day he got mad and he figured out that he can static shock somebody.
And I've always loved that because it shows you don't have to do anything silly to lampoon character's origins, and you can have a character who just happens to be black in a black community, but he's still a superhero without having to be something extra. Luke Cage,
it sounds like a really original first of its kind type of thing.
And I loved it. And besides the corny ass costume, I've always loved Black Lightning.
He's got a corny ass costume?
He's had one costume that was almost legit, and everything else has been just complete lack of
style. Was very accepting of the one that produced on the show, so it was pretty good.
You're getting it? All right, I gotta see this.
So simultaneously, I mean, the first episode actually was really strong. Wow. I know, right? You see it, right?
Yeah, bro.
All of okay, John. Okay.
This one.
All of it. Anyone who's not watching us on Twitch.tv/The Geek Down,
that's
should
hilarious.
I can pull that up.
Yeah. Anyone just listening, you can just scroll through those. Johnny's looking at some of the past costumes Black Lightning's had.
Purple and
they're
gold.
all horrible. Purple and gold, the blue and gold, all
streamers,
huge collars, random lightning bolts
giant,
across.
Like pirate boots.
Yeah, one of my favorite comics.
You're from the south side?
The south side of Xanadu.
Of Florida, yeah. So it's like going to the club.
One of my favorite comics that incorporated Black Lightning in one of those time travel crossing stories was when members of the Legion of Superheroes from the far off future with the corny names, Kid Karate Kid, and all the Pharaoh Man, weirdness. Right. One of them was they looked at Black Lightning's costume, and they all have corny costumes. They saw his with like the weird lightning bolts on the shoulders for no like legitimate reason, and they're like, oh, I guess this must be the past iteration of Lightning Lad. And you know what? You look at it, you're like, that's exactly where this artist took the inspiration from, and this is the writers shaming him.
Too bad it's not.
Too bad
it's Chicago, not Harlem, because you could get Dapper Dan on that thing right quick.
It's so ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Outside of a tropical.
So anyway, we're getting a little off the point. I'll make a final thing about the costumes. The only thing that had them in something legitimate, which I actually have the action figure.
Get out of here.
Yeah. I got a Black Lightning action figure. They released very few, but in the 90s, there was one as part of a Justice League line with a good-looking Wonder Woman, good-looking Superman. Batman with a weird cape, good figure, horrible cape. But the Black Lightning, it's also one of the few Hawkman ones. Black Lightning and Hawkman, and he's in the '90s costume, which was just kind of like imagine if Uncle Fester or like a leather thing with a belt, so it's just like the full body suit. Yeah, but it looks like part of like some kind of you remember Harry Potter? There was the dark. No, never mind. It was just like a full body suit. It was black with like a turtleneck that came up to here. And it had a couple lightning bolts down the front with dark colors, and the whole thing was like, I don't need any fancy suit. I just throw this on because it hides my identity, and I'm gonna blast you, and that's it. Yeah, and that was cool. The rest of them have been Johnny's new butterfly collar favorites over there.
Sure. Yeah. Butterfly collar. So, D, is this an accurate representation of the character that you're familiar with?
I mean, for me, it was. I mean, you can't get any better than what. Like I said, I was expecting something really campy, something really typical, stereotypical black show.
Yeah.
They did. It was good to see black people in good light. Successful black people. That's always good to see. You know what I mean? Especially with the climate of
just like even
society.
an average, like this. Is
it opens up with him. It opens up with him accepting an award as the best principal of the year. You do great for the kids in the community. That's great. But one thing about the CW that I will give them is like they always do a great job of character development. So right away you dive into him. I thought he was about to. I don't know if you've seen it, but you did watch it, right?
Yes, I did.
So he's crooning the girl with the short cut, and I didn't realize that was his wife.
Yeah. They do a lot
and he's always doing this like smooth brother stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's typical. And then I find out it was his ex-wife. I'm like, oh, he has to be smooth. So she's gonna charge him with child support.
I like that because that was a bit of a curve that they threw you, because it seems like they hinted a lot of that stuff that we were talking about we didn't want to see. They hinted, he's gonna do this. Oh, he's getting that.
Which pissed me off though. Is like, why is he separated? Like, but then again, they as you watch the episode, you kind of understand why is she separated from him.
Yes.
Is it a relief to see? I mean, obviously, like being the hero character, a black being hero character. Is it nice to see just like a character just being an average guy? Like, you know what I mean? Just be like, okay, there's nothing remarkable about him. Just actually being normal. You know what I mean? Is that like a relief?
For me, it was. I mean, it's just like I said. Most of those shows tend to be stereotypical.
Or like even praising it up more to like make up for something.
No. They make it seem like he's someone who. He's got powers. He did his part as a hero, but he's not like, well, the greater good is calling me back, or the fight is so and so. It's like, you know what? No, I did good in the community. I cleaned things up. It's better now. It's not perfect, but neither is. I know I'm not the hero that's going to save the world. I made a difference, and now I'm going to make a different kind of difference by training new generations.
Right. And and they'll expound on that as the show. I think it was picked up for like 6 episodes.
Yeah. So
as episodes goes on, you're gonna find out why he stepped away from the Black Lantern mantle, and obviously he's coming back for a reason. Black Lightning. Thank you. And
I would like to see a Black Lantern show though.
Damn, yeah.
The Walking Dead in the DC universe or something.
What I didn't like though, honestly, and I figured they were gonna do something like this. They opened up very politically. They getting pulled over in the car. Police. And I guess there was something happened where there was a
Fresh
robbery.
Prince episode. He's like,
I wasn't crazy about that, but I think I understand why.
They had to set tone.
The climate. Yeah.
Set the tone, and obviously there was involvement with a gang, which is typical because
well, that's what I'm saying.
But not
anything that has to do with that type
characters
of
did deal
character,
with
like,
that,
has to almost, shoehorn that in some way because
it
it
skirted
is
the
part
line.
of life, but it's just like
It skirted the line, and every time you think, oh, this is what they're doing, now I see, and I was waiting for them to do something to make me not like it. I was waiting for it because it's just so ingrained.
Yeah,
it's just so expected. And when I say they skirted the line, 100%. They introduced those characters, but not to say like he was ever a part of them, or he was. It's just to say, okay, we're acknowledging that in this world these things do exist.
Yes,
but we're not linking him to them.
Right.
He's the dude that was a school principal in the community. You have gangsters in the community; they just exist. That's a factor of the world, but it's not what his story's about. There's drugs. That's not what his story's about.
And I like the restraint that he showed, like during that scene. Like he looks at him, he's like, "Literally, you're gonna pull me over. I fit the description of a guy who drives a S80 Volvo station wagon with 2 successful black girls in the car. I'm the principal of the school, and I have a suit on. But you're gonna pull me over because I robbed a grocery store."
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
seems like something that would do. Right.
In the rain, it was really great. But great presentation. I'm looking forward to the next episode. The way it ended is obviously going canon with comic books because I don't want to spoil it too much, so I'm just gonna leave it at that.
It ended on a proper note. My only problem with it, I have very few issues with it. I got to give the show a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Totally.
2 thumbs up on my end.
Absolutely.
Which is well done.
But my problem with it is, and ironically enough, it goes back to what we mentioned before. This is a TV show. It's a different format. Yeah. Why is the suit so corny? The suit, it looks like BMX armor and a domino mask. Seriously, it's like he walked off the set of Eyes Wide Shut and walked on to Black Lightning.
Well, you know what was funny though? Like,
his suit was funny.
For this fourth CW show, and I don't know if you guys are following it, but like in the most, because I do watch a majority of this because it's
like a family friendly network.
That wasn't family friendly when he grabbed the guy.
I'm saying this is the network. That's why it's
the network. Actually, they've been doing stuff like Arrow was.
Pretty risque. Starting to push the limit.
The Flash is a little less cutesy now.
Yeah.
Did they also do what was
I'm saying traditionally, they might have starting to get out of that, but
Smallville was pretty kosher.
Smallville was pretty okay. All right. I thought when they introduced like some of the other characters, Justice League. No. Okay, well then those two at least, they've been like pretty dark shows.
Right.
So this isn't.
I'm saying traditionally, maybe they're more known as that, but they're breaking out of that for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to like go nth degree with it, and I'm not nth degree. They're trying to go left with it.
Right.
And Black Lightning was definitely one of those shows. This was not a kid show.
Yeah.
I would recommend like if you're around like teens and stuff, you check this out. And the overview is it does seem like a dude who's trying to do right, and he's a responsible father, and his kids are messing up, and he's taking care of business and doing good things in the community. That's what it seemed overview. But then just wait till you get to him in action as Black Lightning.
Yeah,
because
it's pretty unapologetic.
Man, wrecked shop.
See, I like that. Playing on those conventions, CW show, Principal, and Black. You know what? It's like, then it's like, damn.
I was right.
And what I like, into piggyback, like he tried his hardest not to bring back Black Lightning.
Yeah, this was very much.
He reached out to his
like it did a John Wick thing. I'm thinking I'm back.
He's like, I'm pretty much back after you grab my kid.
Not John Wick 2, definitely John Wick 1. John Wick 2 was like, no, he was ready for it.
John
Wick 1 was like, look, I really just don't, come on, man. But look, I'm saying, hey, you know what? Rob me, take a while. Just go. I don't want.
The rest of the movie, I'm not answering any more questions. Yeah.
I'm asking you nicely. Don't. Okay, fine. And that's a good way to describe it. Like, kind of like DC's John Wick. I'll say.
Sold, yeah. As long as DC does something.
Yeah, and
worthwhile. Yeah.
I was ready for it to be like, well, fine. I'm back, I guess. He's flying from a distance, and he throws a lightning bolt here, and the lights go out, and that's it. No, he's walking down that sucker like, back in your hotel room. Oh, you want some of this? What's that? You're nuts.
Pretty much.
He's like, yeah. Oh, you the one that touched my daughter. Excuse me.
Is that your car?
Yeah. Oh, he did say that. That was okay. There was at least one corny line.
Yeah.
It could have been badass.
It was nice. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But I will say I anticipate like good things from this because I was ready to not like. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I was ready to not like this because so much hype was behind it.
Yep.
And also, and I've gotten the same criticism about myself from like Mix Macabre and other people before, where it's like I've always been a DC comic reader, and I've been disappointed with what they've been doing in the comics for a long time because they've taken care. I've been a long time fan. Characters I've liked for a long time, and they did suspect stuff with them, and then they take lesser known characters and they feel the need to do like
giant things.
Yeah, just so because they're lesser known characters with Black Lightning. Well, there is, but what they've been doing has not been good. That's the problem. Black Lightning is one of those characters where I was afraid that this might be one of the ones because Black Lightning's always been a member of the Justice League. Yeah. Have you guys heard of him before this show?
No, I have.
Well, obviously I have. Yeah, man. I read comic books.
Yeah, you guys
he had a big role in Final Crisis. No, Infinite Crisis.
Okay, but comic readers.
Yeah, but you're like intense comic readers. I think the layman.
Like for the average, like I'm pretty sure Johnny doesn't read too many comic books. But
I don't read comics at all,
so he probably would never know.
It could have gone either way because of that. Well, I was afraid that they might take this opportunity to do that really weird stuff. It would have been the Captain America 70s. Some dumb stuff. So I will fully admit I got to come out. I was ready to have that bias, and I was actually very impressed with the way it presented itself. Yeah. And I'm very happy to eat crow on that because, dude, it was a good show. And it's rare that you can go in and like honestly, I was hoping it'd be good, but I was ready for it to be bad. And I'm glad they
now one thing I couldn't confirm before you wrap up, is it canon with the current DC television universe? Like are we gonna see crossovers including Black Lightning now?
They've already announced that you will not see crossovers, at least not now.
Okay.
And I like that. That gives it room to
separate.
stand on its own 2 feet.
Right.
Don't try to crowbar any of them into Arrow.
Take the pressure off a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like those crossovers have really been kind of crippling the other shows.
No, Adam said it right.
I'll help you with that. Yeah.
Though I heard that last one was pretty good because I didn't see it. The last crossover between all the four
Defenders?
CW shows.
No, that's Marvel.
Defenders. That's Marvel.
We're talking half bad either, but
the last the last when they worked on Earth 10 or whatever, the last CW crossover.
With Arrow, Legend of the DC Universe, with Legend of Tomorrow, Arrow, Flash.
Yeah. Legends of the Fall.
I didn't. Legend of the Hidden Temple.
That was a great show. Don't talk about
Blue Barracuda, all that stuff.
No, I actually didn't watch that. Because I gave Legend of Tomorrow a shot, and I just didn't like what they were doing with the show. And then when they introduced when they did all that press for introducing Vixen, it seemed like a real desperation.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, I know
like
these
like
characters,
they did with Vixen, that's why I felt like Black Lightning was gonna fall victim to that same type of desperation. So.
I'm glad I'm so glad it did. Black Lightning, I give it a thumbs up. Good. It was just I'm people watching the video right now see me scrambling on my phone because I'm trying to find the name of the actor. I didn't write it down before the show because I had it in my head and for some reason I can't remember it now. But tell me if you remember this, brother. And I don't know if you guys watched Living Single growing up.
No.
Okay.
Cress Williams.
Yes.
His name is Cress Williams.
He played Scooter. And I haven't seen the brother since 20 years ago. This dude played a random recurring B team character named Scooter on one of the most obscure, popular and very good but obscure sitcoms, black sitcoms. Called Living Single. Pretty much like if Golden Girls was black and young.
Yeah. Cedric Yarba?
No. That's really? Are you serious? That's Officer Jones from Reno 911. That's a very different person.
I'm just looking at the cast.
No, even better. No, you know what that is? Shaka Giddy, That's who that is. No. Cress Williams. Did a great job. I'm anxious to see more Black Lightning. I highly encourage anyone to check this out.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. I'm excited to see the development. They're definitely keeping it as canon as possible with the DC character in the comics. Mm-hmm. Something that happened at the end of the episode was well worth it. So I'm excited to see how they pan out with that because it'll be like a family affair. So we'll see what good. But as far as I'm concerned, 2 thumbs up.
Oh, absolutely.
Any day of the week.
Sorry, I'm happy they've introduced also his daughters.
Yeah.
Because they play significant roles. Well, I mean, they just mentioned they're in.
Yeah.
Because they play significant roles in the DC Comics universe,
Yep.
and I'm really anxious to see how they play out in the show as well.
Yep.
So CW's Black Lightning, check it out. All right, now we're nearing the end of our time here. I really just want to take a second to well, first of all, thank you all.
Yeah,
good
good time.
And at the Geek Down, we always try to present the most